I want to talk about Joel 2. And as you know, a lot of people talk about this. Unfortunately, it looks like they either have no business talking about this because they don't have any clue, or some of these people quite possibly could be trying to steer you wrong. The identity of who we've got here, this army in Joel 2, can be tied up to chapter 38 of the book of Job, those of the bands of Orion. A band is translated as troop. Troop is translated as army. So when we say who can loose the bands of Orion, we're saying who can loose this army that's symbolized or associated with the symbolism of Orion, and even further the symbolism of the iron, that iron that the Bible talks about that's taken out of the earth, that's mixed with this murray clay. Well, the iron that's mixed with the murray clay is the sons of God. They're the iron. They're the Orion, or the iron cross. The iron cross DNA. The crossing of the DNA with the sons of God, with the daughters of men. Dan is an anagram, and then we know that we can make DNA from that. So Dan is an ancient mighty man. We find that Dan is going to be the identity for this army of Joel 2. Now, it's not going to be the remnant of Dan that many of you try to relate to, the Mormons or whoever here, Mitt Romney or whatever. None of that stuff. We're talking about these ancient mighty men, the descendants of the sons of God that had to go into the Apsu, which is also known biblically as the abyss or the bottomless pit, that we can relate back to other scriptures that point that these are a people of old time that have gone into the earth, into the pit, the very same abyss that the Sumerian, Babylonian, and Akkadian records talk about, that these ancient Agigi had to go into. It's all one and the same. So the army of Joel 2 is nothing short of the descendancy, the living descendancy of these ancient sons of God. They are to appear as the master race, or the Elohim of the ancient biblical record, after we have some sort of great disaster, and that would be the second cup of Revelation chapter 18 verses 21, 22, and also that would be Revelation chapter 13 verse 13, that great fire that comes from the sky that destroys or is covering the entirety of the globe. Now, if that isn't a great disaster, then I don't know what is. A fire that covers the entirety of the globe at one time. Well, that will be what brings in, what finally breaks the seal and brings in these locusts to appear into the material realm. And they're going to be nothing short of supernatural looking. Now, we're also going to tie this up with the symbolism that Dan has in his relation of the horse. And we're going to find that in Jeremiah. And more importantly, this pale horse that we see on the Iraqi dinar. Because Dan is the pale horse that is death, and hell followed after. And we saw the pale horse right there on the Iraqi dinar. And you guys know from this channel that the Iraqi dinar is telling us all about this biblical conspiracy to bring about these fallen lords into the material realm, and eventually bring this fallen prince into a material body. Well, that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about. So anybody that is trying to say that Joel 2 is an army that's being sent by our loving Father, they're going to be shown where they've got it wrong. And for the people that are trying to teach that the locusts are already here, that are released and causing fires and all this other stuff, you're going to find out that those people are absolutely wrong. I'll be back.